Hi, I'm Neil Kelleher. In this video I'm going to talk a little bit more about the spine and the rib cage, in particular using the rib cage or controlling the rib cage and feeling it so that you work towards a better balanced rib cage, so that in turn you can get better balanced shoulder, work on alleviating shoulder pain. And just as a note, I've done a video or videos before on how to feel the spine, on how to lengthen the spine, how to back bend the spine. I'll include a link to that video or videos in the description box, as well as a link to my Patreon page if you're interested in supporting me. But the spinal, I've included a link to the spinal video just because I talk about that quite a bit, I think. I don't want to repeat that video or that exercise yet again. Instead, I'm going to use it as the basis for the first exercise in this video, and that's simply bending the spine backwards while feeling the spinal vertebrae. So in general, what I hope to achieve by the end of this video is to give you the tools so that you can work towards better spinal control, better rib cage control, but with a focus on the back of the body instead of in the front. So for example, in a previous video I talked about using the pubic bone, bottom of the sternum and top of the sternum as references while twisting. You could think of this as building up on spinal and rib cage control, or you could think of it as another avenue of approach, another avenue of approach for tackling the rib cage and spine. Before I go on to the actual exercises, one of the things I should mention here is that I've been reading a lot up on first principles, or working from first principles. And basically it's the technique or the mindset that I've been using almost from the very beginning in my approach to both teaching yoga and feeling, controlling the body, but in other things that I do. And I've been looking for something to sort of capture the essence of what I'm doing in as few words as possible and in a way that is recognizable to people in general. And first principles, I read about it with respect to Elon Musk and how he uses it to do things like figure out that he should build his own rockets instead of buying them or renting them from other people, or how he figures out that it is more cost effective to build his own batteries rather than buying it from other people, based on the fact that he looks at one of the ways that he looked at building batteries or rockets is how much do the raw materials cost for these things. And he probably looked at these things from different viewpoints as well, component parts, not just the component materials, but component parts, to see if there are ways to make, for example, getting to Mars cheaper. But perhaps the final point of view that allowed him to come to where he is now is looking at material cost. Now, first principle thinking, or working from first principles, is about finding a point of view, a way of looking at a system, but also finding a way of breaking a system down into component parts that makes it easier to either learn the system or to solve problems. And it's relevant to this video and ideally all the other videos that I've done. So for example, my Bakasana video is about how to break down the Bakasana pose into simple elements that make it easier to learn how to balance. So instead of jumping up into Bakasana, you learn how to shift your center of gravity relative to your foundation, relative to, in order to better balance. So instead of jumping up, you shift your center and feel where your center of gravity is, or you simply move forward until your feet can come off of the floor. But with respect to muscle control, one of the primary reasons I teach muscle control is that muscle control enables you to feel your body. It enables you to feel isolated parts of your body so that you can learn your body as the sum of its component parts. And so muscles aren't just ways of moving your body, they are basic units that you can use to feel your body. And so from a first principles approach, muscles are are a basic unit that you can use to learn to better feel your body and control it. And you can use them in the context of almost any activity that you're using your body. And that's one of the main reasons that I teach muscle control. And you may hear me start talking about first principles quite a bit. And that hopefully captures the essence of why I teach from a first principles point of view. So getting on with the exercise, so working on shoulder pain from a first principles point of view, basic elements are the rib cage, the shoulders, and the elbows, and you can break that down finer. But to get on with the actual exercise, so in one of my videos I've talked about lifting the tailbone, so tilting the pelvis forward, lifting the tailbone, so feeling the sacrum. So as you lift your sacrum, bending your lumbar spine backwards, so keep your rib cage still, lift the sacrum so that the lumbar spine acquires a back bend, and then from there you notice the feeling of your spinal erectors acting on your lumbar vertebrae, and you carry that feeling up into the thoracic spine. So you bend the lumbar spine backwards, and then you bend the thoracic spine backwards, so you get feeling or sensation generated by the spinal erectors. And you can even carry that up into the neck by making the neck feel long. You could bend the neck backwards, but in this instance, since the focus is on the spinal erectors in the lumbar and thoracic region, what I'd suggest is just make the neck long for now. So the exercise is to bend the lumbar spine and thoracic spine backwards. Also feel the sacrum while you're doing that. So bend the sacrum, lumbar spine, thoracic spine backwards. Do it in such a way that you get spinal erector activation. And then from there, notice the left and right side of the spine and try to adjust for uneven sensation, which indicates uneven activation. So showing you from the back, lift your sacrum. So even this part, you can just lift your sacrum, notice any sensation in your sacrum and your hips. You can try adjusting so you get even sensation both sides. And one thing for me, because I had a left knee injury a while back, I tend to shift my weight to the right. It's very subtle, so it's hard for me to notice. Now I have to, so for example, when I'm doing squats, I have to slightly shift my weight to the left so that the weight is even. The way to tell if the weight's even is to practice shifting left to right. Get used to feeling the feet, noticing the changes in pressure, and try to calibrate, find the position where pressure is even. But focusing on the spine, you can lift your sacrum, feel your sacrum. You could try lifting or lowering one hip so that sensation is even on both sides of the sacrum and the sacral iliac joints, so that the hips have even sensation. You could try shifting left and right, and that can affect the pressure in your feet. So lift the sacrum, try to adjust it so you get even sensation. Then from there, try to increase the lumbar back bend. The same thing applies here. Focus on feeling the sacrum, lumbar spine. Notice any differences in sensation. From there, bend the thoracic spine backwards. So here already I get slightly more sensation on this side, slightly less on the other. And so what can you do about that? There's a couple of exercises you can do to practice adjusting thoracic spine to get even sensation on both sides of the thoracic spine. You can stand with your feet together or apart. I've been standing with my feet together in a lot of my exercises now because in the past I tend to stand with my feet apart, so now I'm doing this more often. Use whichever position allows you to do the exercise easily, at least for now. First exercise, so shift your rib cage relative to your pelvis to the right, and then return. So notice this is a bending to the right. It's moving your rib cage relative to your pelvis, like the rib cage is a block. You're sliding it or translating it. So to the right, relax, to the right, relax, to the right, relax, and then to the left, relax, to the left, relax, to the left. Relax. You can do that a lot slower, a lot smoother if you wanted to. Something that you can practice while you're walking along. And when doing adjustments, the idea isn't just to move and hold it. The idea of adjustments is to move back and forth one way or the other while feeling it and getting a feel for the changes in sensations so that you can, so maybe just doing to the right, notice how the sensations change in this area. So notice the back of your body, notice how it feels. Then do the same to the left. Notice how it feels. Sorry if I'm getting my directions mixed up, but watch the video if you're not, mirror me if my vocal instructions left and right don't make sense. But so when doing this exercise, so the idea of doing this exercise is to help you feel the relationship between your ribcage and pelvis, the side-to-side relationship, but also to get better at controlling it. Now from there, another exercise you can do is twist, and rather than going for a full twist, do a partial twist. Actually, no. So from there, what you can do is move your ribcage forward relative to the ribcage, relax, forward, relax, forward, relax, then back, relax, back, relax, and back. And this might not be so important for side-to-side imbalance, but it can be important for giving you feeling. So if you lose sensation of your rib cage or parts of your spine, say while in the back bend, one of the things you could try doing is moving your rib cage forward slightly relative to the pelvis or back. More than likely it's going to be forward, but be aware of the options so that you can play around, so that you can self-adjust, so that you can first and foremost generate sensation. Apologies if there is some background noise. They're doing some construction in my neighborhood. So hopefully this doesn't make the viewing experience too excruciating, or the listening experience. And ideally, you only need to watch this a couple of times. Take notes. So the idea of this is to learn these exercises so that you can do it without having to continually watch the video. It gives you agency, let's say. So you have two basic adjustments. Side to side is going to be the more helpful one. Front to back, if you have gut sensation, you may find that helps to give you sensation. Another option is simple twisting, and here you can keep your hips still. So in the previous video I talked about turning your pubic bone, then your sternum, focusing on the sternum to turn the rib cage. In this instance, keep the pubic bone still. You can make slight adjustments left or right so that you have a feel for your pubic bone, your hip bones, but from there, just turn your rib cage. If you wanted to focus on your sternum, just turn your rib cage slightly left, relax, slightly left, relax, slightly left, relax, and then do the same thing, other side, slightly right, relax, slightly right, relax, slightly right, relax. And here the idea, it is possible to break the rib cage into 12 components, so 12 ribs, or 12 pairs of ribs and the associated 12 vertebrae. And so in a spinal twist, what you can do is twist, work your way up the spine or down it, and twist at each successive vertebrae, going deeper as you twist, the higher you work your way up the spine. In this instance, what I'd suggest is try to move the rib cage as one unit. So move all of the rib cage together to the right as you turn it, all of the rib cage together to the left as you turn it. And changing focus to the back of the spine, the area you can focus on is the thoracolumbar junction, where the thoracic spine and rib cage join the lumbar spine. So turn slightly to the right, relax, to the right, relax, to the right, relax, to the left, so focus is here, relax, left, relax, left, relax. If you're aware enough, you could actually divide the rib cage into an upper and lower half, and then focus on turning the upper half relative to the lower half. And there the focus is somewhere around here, so you could try doing the same thing there. Turn the upper part of the rib cage relative to the lower, relax, to the right slightly, relax, to the right, relax, and then to the left, relax, to the left, relax, to the left, relax. Can be a little bit easier once you have a feel for your spinal erectors. The spinal erector, if you do the ribcage turning with the spinal erectors active, you may find this a bit easier to isolate those parts. And actually that's one of the rationales for these exercises, because you're going to be using them with the spinal erectors activated. Actually, what I should say is you'll be using these movements as adjustments with the spinal erectors activated. So, going back to the standing back bend, and you can do that with the knees straight or slightly bent, whichever suits you, feet together, feet apart. Both options are fine, just make a decision. But from here, so you can lift your sacrum. So here again, adjust for sensation. Try to make both sides of the sacrum feel even. Try to carry the back bend into your lumbar spine, make both sides of the lumbar spine feel even. Carry the back bend up into the thoracic spine. Now to make the thoracic spine feel even, things you can do, you can try moving slightly left and right. So here I get slightly more even. I haven't got a mirror, so I can't visually check. So if you have a mirror to do this in front of, do that. But make sure, even if you're using a mirror, that you also feel your body. And it might feel uneven. You're going to have to go back and forth because you're working. Do the best you can. So going by feel, so sacrum, lumbar spine, thoracic spine. So you can try moving left and right. Move your rib cage relative to your pelvis left and right, so that you get even sensation. If that doesn't work, something else you can do, turn your rib cage as a whole slightly right or left, see if that helps. Or if possible, if you can do it, try turning your upper rib cage slightly right or left until you get even sensation. I'm not going to spend the whole video doing this because it can take a lot of time. Remember, you have 27 vertebrae, so the more important point is that you know what to do for yourself. So what I suggest, do the spinal back bend, practice feeling, adjusting so that you get even sensation, and from there what you can then do is work at making your spine feel long. And then from there, without allowing your chest to lift, create a downward pull on the, now where we go here. Actually no, so my apologies, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So the goal of this exercise is to focus on the spinal vertebrae. Try to get even sensation either side of the spinal vertebrae. Work on that first. So first principles approach, work on the spine first. From there, once you get that, then approach the ribs. Learn how to feel the spinal erectors that attach to the ribs. Learn how to create a downward pull in the back of the ribs so that those spinal erectors activate. And then you go through the same set of steps. Adjusting rib cage, adjusting the spine so that you get even sensation on both sides. I'm going to wrap it up there. Just like to say, give a shout out to username D69 for being my very first Patreon supporter. Thank you very much. And if you are interested in supporting me in my efforts, one of the things that I'm doing on Patreon is more videos like this, but without the ads. But it can be a more fine-tuned approach. I did make a promise to one individual that if they had continued to have problems with their shoulders, then let me know. And so I'm still doing some of these videos on YouTube, and I do intend to continue doing YouTube videos when it's, I guess one thing, if it's dealing with pain, then I don't feel right charging for exercises that deal with pain, trying to alleviate, because I can't guarantee any results. Actually, I can't guarantee any results. What I can guarantee you is I can help you learn to feel and control your body, or I can do the best that I can. But anyway, I'll be doing more. The Patreon videos, or the Patreon interface, allows us to communicate a bit better rather than you leaving comments and waiting for me to respond. There's still a bit of a lag time, but it's a bit more of a contract, if you like. If I know that if I do a video, you're actually going to watch it, or there's a better chance that you're going to watch it. Anyway, it gives me a better chance to chat with you, to figure out what you guys, helps me to direct the videos that I do. If you can help me, I would appreciate it. If not, I'll keep on doing the YouTube videos anyway. And yes, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this is helpful. If you do find it helpful, if you have any questions, please do ask. And Patreon link and the other videos links, they're all in the description box. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste.